Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Total NASL Roundtable. This time, we're previewing the 2016 NASL season. I'm joined by the whole crew, including Porter as well. So we're joined by Teo, Spencer, Porter, and Jason. How are you guys tonight?
Doing great.
Good. Yeah,
Doing good.
yeah, good.
Yeah. So let's start by going through all our clubs and talk about what we expect out of the 2016 season, and just give a very short. And I know it's hard to give a short preview, but a short preview of your club's upcoming season this weekend. So let's start with the Carolina Railhawks with Jason.
All right, so we're going to start with the Railhawks, and it's going to be all downhill from there for the rest of the show, I assume. No, I'm just kidding, guys. So our Railhawks arguably are fielding our best Railhawks squad ever. With that said, I really feel like the NASL overall has taken leaps and bounds where it's ever been before. So despite having a really strong Railhawks team, I think it still probably is going to be a bottom half of the table type of squad. I love that we shored up our defense, but we are having to replace the number 3 goal scorer in NASL last year in Nacho Novo. So it's definitely going to be an interesting season seeing who steps up in offense, but I think we've done a great job shoring up our defensive liabilities. Next up.
I think that was your shortest time talking ever, Jason. That's amazing. Next up, Porter. Let's go with Porter.
Okay, this is also funny. You should say that you've signed the best Carolina squad ever, because this is the best Rayo OKC squad we've ever signed. So for the season, as we've said many times before, we'd like to see a steady increase in attendance throughout the season, because that's the lifeblood of the club, and we want to see a team that stays healthy and finishes in the top half of the table. That's what we'd be happy with.
And moving on to the Rowdies, a new look team in a way with I forgot the name of the manager. Forgive me, Spencer, but Stu has
Stuart Campbell.
Yeah, Stuart Campbell has a full season with this squad. So what is the hope for the Rowdies this season?
Okay, it's simple. 1 year plan is to win the championship.
So we're still going with this 1 year plan. Everybody believes in that?
Until we have a new owner, it's always a 1 year plan. Always a 1 year plan.
So maybe see a new owner with the Tampa Bay Rowdies? Because I heard that there was talks maybe MLS in St. Petersburg. Do you think that may happen or no?
No, I think it's going to be possibly Bill Edwards joining with the owner of the Lightning, I forget his name, and putting their money together probably and trying to build something that way. That's what I would see. But there's no owner coming in for Bill Edwards. He's not selling the team, I don't believe.
So the future is just an NASL for now. So, Teo, an overhaul of a Fury squad going into the 2016 season. And it should be exciting, but a lot of Fury supporters just have to be realistic. And you may look at the team and say, we don't expect a lot, but what do you feel about the team?
Well, it's not your daddy's Ottawa Fury FC, is it? People who tune in this year thinking they're going to see Richie Ryan, Tom Heineman, and that cast of characters from last year are in for a shock. It's been a complete overhaul in Ottawa, and there's only a few key players remaining, and some fairly unknown players coming in. The ceiling is high when you don't know who's coming in, but I don't know. The expectations in Ottawa are pretty realistic, I think. I don't think any fans are saying they're going to get back to the final and truly believing that. I'd be shocked. But Paul Dalglish has a plan. He has a plan for attacking football and making it, he seems to say, more entertaining than last year. So that's fair. And I would place, personally, the Fury between 6th and 8th spot this upcoming season.
And one of the key parts is that Paul Dalglish is so excited for their first match against the New York Cosmos. He even tweeted that the Cosmos should be ready for them.
Yeah, well, it certainly shows a lot of gusto, but again, I think that's just to pump up his team, and to the manager's job is to make his team believe that they can win any game. So I think that's just part and parcel of that.
And ending it out with the New York Cosmos, just sort of like a change of philosophy in a way, not going after that huge star anymore, which we've been used to for the past couple of seasons, and losing key players like Walter Restrepo, Raul, the two legends retiring, Marco Senna, and bringing the likes of Juan Arango and Nico Kranjar, some players that play for the top clubs and have so much experience, but coming into the team and actually having higher hopes and trying to achieve a lot more than they did in the past season. So the goal really is just winning the U.S. Open Cup and hopefully winning the championship once again. I know you guys don't want to hear that the Cosmos are going to win once again, but it's just the hope here in New York.
Well, that's a good question, John, and maybe we should go around the table and pick our winners of the maybe the regular season winners and the finals. Who does everyone think? Maybe we start with Jason.
I'm just going to be cliche here and say Minnesota. I feel like they have the most talent on the team, and I think with going from a good squad last year to a great squad this year and being as close as they were last year, they're going to be super excited to go off to the MLS for next season. I think this is going to be a swan song, or I guess loon songs season for them. That's going to end up in a championship.
Cool.
Porter?
Yeah, I agree with Jason. I think if we're picking season winners, I'd probably take Minnesota to win the spring, New York to win the fall, and I like Minnesota to, again, go out on top and fly their Minnesota FC no longer United flag all the way to the MLS.
Good one, Porter. Great one there. Spencer?
I'd have to say Minnesota winning the spring, but with all the money the owners of the Rowdies have put into the team this year and NPSL team, there's a lot more added depth this year. So I think that the Rowdies will sneak in, with a third or fourth spot and win the championship overall.
And Teo?
For me, it's Minnesota winning the spring and the fall season, but I see them falling in the final to the Cosmos.
Yes, the Cosmos finally win in someone's prediction.
Yeah, I've said this on the nightcap the other night. It's rare to see a team that is going to MLS win their last season in the division that they were in. Orlando wasn't able to do it. The Impact wasn't able to do it. Vancouver wasn't able to do it. So I'm going to predict that as well for Minnesota.
And me personally, I feel the Cosmos are going to win the spring. Miami FC is going to win the fall.
Teo,
Okay.
I'm going to cut in though. Teo,
Yep.
Can I cut in?
Yeah, for sure. Go for it, Jason.
So you mentioned your concern about all these other teams not having the same caliber, or I'm sorry, the getting a chance to win a championship on their last season of NASL before moving up to MLS. I don't think any of those teams had the caliber of players that a Minnesota United had. So
Yep.
I think there has to be a difference maker with that. This is not your typical type of NASL team moving on because of money. This is outside of money, a heck of a talented MLS-ready team.
It is, yeah, you're correct about that 100% because the MLS changed the rules. It used to be that you couldn't take your team with all its roster and just transfer them over to MLS. Everyone had to be released, and everybody, if you wanted to keep them, had to sign a contract with MLS. And so they were losing a lot of players that way. This time around, the MLS, or MLS, we shouldn't say the MLS. MLS changed their rules, and you are able to just transfer those contracts right over into MLS. So you're bang on that, but I still think that in the end we're going to get an upset in the final with the Cosmos taking it.
Yeah, so going with my predictions as well. The Cosmos win the spring. Miami FC winning the fall. I think they have a very strong squad going into their first season in the NASL. And the Cosmos winning the title. I can't choose any other team, to be honest with you guys. So let's go with and that just previewed the matches for the opening kickoff. It's so excited. It was a long off season, but finally it's here, guys. Finally it's here. We finally get to see Rayo OKC. They released their new kits and everything. So we're going to discuss that later on in the show, but let's get the match previews out of the way. So Carolina facing Minnesota United on a very traditional Saturday afternoon. They played last season, I believe, on the first match day against the Ottawa Fury as well. So this traditional afternoon on a Saturday in Cary, North Carolina.
Yeah, this is not the first time that Minnesota and Railhawks have kicked off a season. I want to say it was maybe like 4 years ago. We actually started off in the Viking Stadium, which was kind of a cool one to watch on TV when they actually had it. I believe it was a Railhawks loss, though, that particular opener. I think maybe 2-1. I think we may have lost that one. But anyways, looking at the matchup for Minnesota versus Carolina, I think Minnesota have been a little bit flustered with how slow of a start that they had to the preseason. It does not look like they're necessarily gelled yet. They have so much offensive firepower, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really seem like it's been clicking. I think the most goals that they scored in a game was 2 this preseason, and that was only once. Any other game was either 0 or 1 goals. So for a team that's supposed to be such an offensive juggernaut, it's definitely been a slow start to congealing. Now with the Railhawks, though we are pegged as one of the most turnover teams from over this offseason, we've really kept all of our core guys who actually had legitimate playing time last year. We've got rid of a lot of guys, but they're all guys that were riding the bench anyways. So though we have a lot of turnover, I think we've really kept a strong nucleus that's going to give us good chemistry right out of the gate. So I'm really hoping that our good chemistry is going to outplay the raw talent of a team and potentially see a Railhawks victory or at least a draw. So I think the balance between the Minnesota's still trying to mesh together crazy good offense versus the strong chemistry of the Railhawks and revamped backline is pretty much going to be a pretty even matchup, but it's definitely one to watch to kick off your NASL season.
So Jason, can we just end with a match prediction? Where do you think this match will end at the end of the 90 minutes?
Okay, if the Railhawks can score first, I'm going to say 3-2. Railhawks.
It's a bold prediction.
It is a bold prediction. Minnesota has not been doing that well with defense their preseason. I'm hoping that carries over. But if the Railhawks can score first, we have the Wake mid factor where it's really tough for teams to come in and win. I'm saying if we score first, we'll win 3-2.
And the next matchup is Fort Lauderdale, Miami FC. And this match is going to be on beIN Sports on Saturday night, the same day when we have El Clasico on beIN Sports. And hopefully those fans stay tuned at 7 p.m. for Fort Lauderdale Strikers, Miami FC. That's just the hope, right, for beIN Sports. So it's a derby matchup. It's their closest rivalry. So where do you think this match will go? Let's start out with Teo. What is your prediction for this matchup?
Fort Lauderdale and Miami. I've got it as a 2-0 win for the veterans, Fort Lauderdale. I think they're going to take this home game and they're going to take it to the upstarts. And because Michael Carney isn't here, he wanted me to relay his prediction, and he thought that Miami would win 1-0. So
yeah. We've
got that down.
I personally feel that Miami FC is going to win the match as well. Maybe a 2-0 victory. That's what I'm hoping for. Alessandro Nesta, not a experienced manager, and that's what everyone's saying is like, is it going to be a success? But hopefully it is. They have a great squad and some great backings in their owner as well. So, Spencer, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think Miami's going to pull out a 2-0 win. I like the players that they've brought in Fort Lauderdale. They're just not that good. So,
shots fired to Fort Lauderdale. So, Porter, I know you're new to the league, but are you looking forward to this matchup?
Yeah, definitely. The South Florida Derby, I guess, is what they're calling it. So Fort Lauderdale, I think Fort Lauderdale will win this one, probably 2-1 over Miami FC. I think short preseason, just like Rayo OKC, the expansion clubs are going to have a hard time hitting the ground running.
And lastly, Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think both these teams are built for offense. Miami's definitely going to want to come out and prove something, as are all of the new Brazilian talent. I don't know if I'm allowed to say Brazilian, though. All the new Brazilian talent that Fort Lauderdale has. I think I'm going to see the game draw 2-2. So what does that mean if you're keeping count so far? If the Railhawks win the first game, second game of the day ends in a draw, you still have Carolina Railhawks as number one at this point in the league.
Maybe we should do the Carolina and Minnesota predictions too, since we did it for Jason.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead.
I have Minnesota. Oh,
Go ahead, Spencer.
3-0 over Carolina.
Okay, Porter?
I like Minnesota 3-2 over Carolina. I think Carolina keeps it close, but Minnesota pulls it out.
I personally think Minnesota United is going to crush the Carolina Railhawks. Sorry, Jason. I see a 3-0 Minnesota victory. Get in there, Minnesota.
Michael has them winning as well, 2-0, which is the exact same score that I picked. Minnesota beating Carolina 2-0. Sorry, Jason. Looks like you're the only one that picked Carolina to win.
That's no problem. I have no problem being right.
And that's awesome because just to give everyone of our viewers an idea of what we're doing here, I'm going to keep track of all these predictions throughout the season, and we're going to see how good we are at predicting, and that's kind of what we're going for. And there was no fault in your logic, Jason. That scoreline, maybe 3-2 is a bit optimistic, but I could see Carolina pulling this one out using your logic.
Yeah. So moving on with the matches for the weekend. Tampa Bay Rowdies, Indy 11. This is the match of the week on One World Sports for all you guys sort of confused with all the TV deals. This on One World Sports nationwide as well. One World Sports actually going out there and making a lot of people to watch this match. That's the best part about it. So Spencer, what are your thoughts going into this matchup?
Match preview. I have the Rowdies winning 2-1 over Indy 11. Rowdies have Matt Pickens, I believe, starting in goals, what I predicted in my starting 11. And with the strong defense coming back from last year, and we added a lot of talented, creative, attacking midfielders. Our team is mostly midfielders, but with Tom Heineman as our lone forward, I think is how it's played. There's going to be a lot of creativity and balls into the box, which would create a lot more opportunities, and hopefully we'll finish in the final third more than we did last year. So I have the Rowdies coming out with a 2-1 win, looking to score goals and in front of the home crowd over at Outlaying.
Yeah, I also see a 2-1 victory for the Rowdies. Let's start with Taylor and then go towards the left.
Okay. Tampa versus Indy 11. I've got the same score as Spencer, a 2-1 win for the home team. And Michael's got it as a draw. He picked his home team to draw Tampa. So those are the two picks for the two of us.
And Porter?
I like Tampa Bay. I think they're probably my second favorite team in the league. So I've got Tampa Bay 4-1 over the Indy 11.
And lastly, Jason?
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
If we follow the old moniker that defense travels, and Ottawa's defense, who is now Indy's defense this coming season, I really think that Indy's defense will be much improved, and they're actually going to be able to hold better results on the road. I'm going to call a 1-1 draw. Yes, Tampa Bay has a firecracker of an offense this year, but I think Indy might sneakily have the best defense, considering that they pretty much have Ottawa's defense from last year. So again, 1-1 draw. Oh, and if you're keeping count, that's now another draw. Railhawks still top of the table.
I think there's a pattern here.
John.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, I said a 2-1 victory for the Rowdies. I don't like the Rowdies at all, but I just want to see them win for once.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Porter, first matchup for Ray OKC at home. You guys have a brand new surface at Miller Stadium, and it should be a great matchup, a great night, a great experience, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. Am I correct?
It's going to be an atmosphere. We'll be there covering the match. We'll be live tweeting. Unfortunately, our front office doesn't have the flexibility like the Carolina front office did. And I don't think the Carolina game for Saturday was originally scheduled to be a night game because of the Final Four in basketball. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, but they moved the game up to an afternoon game about a week and a half ago.
Correct.
So the Rayo OKC inaugural home game will conflict almost directly with the Oklahoma Sooners basketball appearance in the Final Four. So combine that with the slow media start or the slow marketing start, and we could see some rough numbers in terms of attendance. I don't think that will affect the product on the field. I expect this team to, even without some of the major stars, I don't expect Georgios Samaras to play Saturday. I don't think he'll play a whole lot at home, to be honest, because of the artificial field, as nice as it is. I think they're going to take him easy, especially since he's not in 90-minute fit form. But I still do like Rayo OKC to win their first ever match 3-1 over FC Edmonton.
Yeah, I personally see Rayo OKC winning their first match against the Eddies. I know the Eddies get upset when you predict a victory over them, like we said before going on. Sorry to all the Eddie supporters out there. But, yeah, I see a really competitive match in a 2-1 victory for Rayo OKC. Let's start with Spencer. What do you think about this matchup?
I like the players that are on Rayo KC, but I see this coming out as a 1-1 draw. Just since it's a new franchise and everything, just coming out slow, maybe out of the gate. So just a 1-1 draw for the end.
Jason?
Yeah, I'm totally with Spencer on this one. I think that the Eddies, despite having the least amount of turnover, they're a team that has, they finished, 7th last year, middle of the table, and they have so many returning pieces outside of laying up, obviously, but between Nick Ledgerwood as well as a few other additions. I'm going to say that Tomi Amiyobi is going to be their only hope and lead their team to a 1-1 draw. In Edmonton, they're also pretty used to playing on pretty shitty surfaces. No offense, Rayo. So I think that's going to balance out the game and have it finish 1-1 draw. And, you already know, the Railhawks are still going to be at the top of the table at this point.
And lastly, Teo, what are your thoughts? Teo, are you there?
My thoughts are that, let's see here, OKC Edmonton 1-1 is what I've got down for this result. I think that Ray OKC have the better team. I said as much in my preseason prediction. I think the Ray OKC is going to make the playoffs, and Edmonton finish last. But in this first game, you get those jitters as a first game in franchise history, and I think it's just going to be 1-1. And Michael has it as a 2-1 win for Rayo. So I like Rayo, but for me it's a 1-1 draw.
And lastly, to end of the weekend, Sunday night, 6 p.m., New York Cosmos against the Ottawa Fury. For me, this is the marquee matchup of the weekend. I don't know about you lads, but this is going to be one of the best matchups of the weekend. That's why it's on a Sunday night. I want to get the Fury aspect of this match. You're not really confident in your side for the season, but how do you feel going into the first matchup and a team that you're not very confident in, Tail?
Well, people try to build this as the rematch of the final, and you're right. The two clubs are the two teams that are the same, but in terms of personnel on the field, it's not going to look anything like last year's final. And I see New York taking it to Ottawa for a 3-1 victory, and it's the same result that Michael predicted.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 3-0 victory. I feel like the Cosmos have the experience domestically and internationally that can get the job done against the Fury. And let's get the guys' thoughts on this one as well. The championship final rematch. What are your thoughts, Jason?
So it's going to kill me to say it, but I'm actually going to say the Cosmos are probably going to pull this one out 2-1. I think still with a lot of new guys on the Cosmos team, especially primarily the attackers for the Cosmos, still trying to work together to really gel. I think if this was a mid-season or late-season game, it would just be a drubbing. But the fact that it's early season, I'm going to say it's probably still going to be a little bit low scoring. Ottawa, I think they've sneakily built a fairly good squad over the last couple of weeks after being a little bit abysmal over the first half of the of the off season. But again, 2-1 draws my. 2-1 being my prediction. And John, for right now, you guys can join my Railhawks at the top of the table.
And we will be on the top of the table past week 1. We will just be up there by ourselves by the time it ends the spring season. So, Porter, what are your thoughts on the championship final rematch, which everyone's calling it?
Okay, John, I have to apologize. I see your New York Cosmos stumbling out of the block.
It's all good.
I think they've got some really talented players, like Jason said, but they're all relatively new and a little bit hypocritical for me to say because Rayo OKC's even worse off than that. But I see this playing out to a surprising 1-1 draw in the opening week.
And Spencer, marquee matchup. And I know
I have this
you don't like the Cosmo
Ottawa winning.
Yeah. You can continue, Spencer. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got Ottawa. Actually, too. I don't actually see the Cosmos making the playoffs at the end of the year. I actually see them without the veteran leadership of Senna or Raul not finishing in the top 4 or winning either season to make it into the playoffs.
Okay, so that really wraps up our previews for the opening weekend. But let's talk about what has been going on throughout the league in the past week. We have expansion news, but before we get there, let's talk about some kit reveals that happened last night. So the Fury released their kits, the Strikers and Rayo OKC. So Porter, let's get your reviews of the new or the first Rayo OKC kits.
Yeah, so no surprises out of Oklahoma City. They're literally carbon copies of everything from the parent club, the mother club, Rayo Vallecano. As we joked before we went live, the only difference being the mother club, Rayo Vallecano, has a shirt sponsor, and Rayo OKC currently does not. We know the team is actively searching for a shirt sponsor, and the reason why they kind of threw the kit reveal together in a hurry was to get the kits out there before Saturday, even though that shirt sponsor is not done. So if you didn't get a chance to see them, obviously the white with the red sash, a classic look taken after River Plate, and then the gray with the pink sash, the breast cancer awareness shirt, and then the black with the rainbow sash, the ones for the ones, the silent, I believe the club uses the term the Silent Warriors or something like that to describe the rainbow shirt. That's for them. So pretty nice looking jerseys. Very happy with them, and I know more people out there than just those in Oklahoma City are excited to get their hands on some of these kits.
And what I like about the kits is that Rayo Vallecano is not overpowering in this partnership and saying, you need our kit sponsor like we see with City Football Group and NYCFC. And this is more of a local club for Oklahoma rather than just another Rayo Vallecano sort of club and just promoting their brand.
Yeah, I've heard it both ways, actually. You know, some people said we're really disappointed about the carbon copying of the kits, even without the shirt sponsor. But I think it's a really classic-looking jersey, and it's pretty well known and well liked around the world. So why not continue that here in Oklahoma City?
Yeah, for sure. So, Teo, let's get your thoughts on the Fury kits. At first, I said to Teo that it looked like just an original Adidas jersey, but after a while, it sort of grew on me, and I was like, "Whoa, those look really, really cool." So not just the Cosmos view on it, but Teo, what are your thoughts?
Well, as you know, I'm not a big kit guy. I can say that either I like something or I don't like something, but I wasn't feeling the jitters like many people. And like I've said before, I'm not judging that. If that's your thing, that is cool. Whatever gets you excited about the soccer team is all I'm happy about. So the reaction around the fans was mixed. There was some people who liked it, some people who really didn't. I heard one guy say that he felt the red jersey and red shorts looked too much like Liverpool. He had a point. And and it also was the reveal of a new shirt sponsor for the Fury. The new shirt sponsor was not something that was expected. It's a food distribution company called Chartwells, and it's just apparently I was talking to people and they know who this company is. I didn't, but apparently they're huge in food distribution, and it's a big company in Canada. So good for the Fury. And my favorite New Jersey was of the two was the white one with the black shorts. I think that looks really slick, and I like the flame, the Fury flame down the side here is nice. So those are my thoughts on the jerseys. I don't want to go on too long about that.
Yeah, it's talking about the kit sponsor. It's so cool how it's a big company, but you didn't know about it, about the company. It just shows how a business could be that big and no one can care about them. So, yeah, at least you guys have a good kit sponsor. And I remember we were talking and speculating about what kit sponsor could it be. We were talking about the Ottawa Tire Company, right? Am I correct?
Canadian Tire, yeah.
Canadian Tire Company, and that's a company that everyone knows about as well. So, and they work well with the Fury. I remember seeing some billboards, of the players and cutouts as well, with the partnership between the two brands.
Yep.
And lastly, the Fury. I mean, not the Fury. The Strikers released their new kits. And what was so cool about their kit reveal is that they had it on a boat. So they had like all these fans go on this boat, and they just released they reveal their kits. And the first one was their original sort of their red and yellow, and the other one was a black one, which was pretty cool, black and yellow. I don't know if you guys saw it, but if you guys did, or whoever saw it, what are your thoughts?
I saw it. Oh, go ahead, Spencer.
I think they did a good job with their jerseys this year. I think that's going to be the best part about the year. It's probably there, but that's about it. Really good. Rowdy said about that.
Yeah, we're having trouble hearing you, Spencer.
I think he said something along the lines of he really likes the jerseys, and that's going to be the best part about the team this year.
I saw the jerseys just a few hours ago on Twitter, and they're nice. I like the stripes, the different color tones coming down the jersey. Really nice.
And let's go to some expansion news today. The San Francisco Deltas were announced as the first West Coast club in the NASL. So congrats, San Francisco Deltas, for being the first West Coast club.
Best road trip in NASL.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully San Francisco.
Puerto Rico FC.
Yeah, that's a good one
Puerto
too.
Rico.
Yeah, so it's just a great club coming in. They have big ambitions, and it's just exciting to see where this league is going. And everyone was saying, well, if you want to be sort of like a D1 league, if you want to go forward, we need some West Coast clubs, and we finally got one. And it seems like we might see a couple of more coming real soon. So let's get your thoughts on the San Francisco Deltas, starting with Teo.
San Francisco, an iconic city and throughout the world, and so it's important as an American league or the North American league to have it in the league. You're gonna end up with Chicago, San Francisco, New York, and Miami, four of the most iconic cities, not just in the U.S. but in the world. And if you can add Los Angeles at some point, that would be your five most iconic U.S. cities. So a really great get for the NASL. It looks like it's a group that has a lot of financial backing. They're going to be on some solid grounds there to build a really good team. So those are my thoughts, and let's hope that it's the first of many new teams announced out west. Let's hope there's a few more California teams and see some more expansion out there.
And Porter, what are your thoughts on the first West Coast expansion side being the Deltas?
Big fan of having them in the league. I'm not a big hater on their name like a lot of people have been. Their logo is very San Francisco, I think, very new age techie and hipster upstart. And I agree with everything Teo said. We've got to move out west now. FC Edmonton is not on their own little island anymore. Now San Francisco is going to be on an island, and they're going to have quite a ways to travel. I hope the league does them some favors in the first season in terms of arranging their away games. Hopefully they can make a little road swing and not have to fly out and back all the time. So hopefully we bring them in Chicago in 2017. We lose Minnesota and then potentially pick up teams in Las Vegas, Albuquerque, Sacramento Republic would be nice to get from the USL if the MLS doesn't come calling. That's an organization with a lot of history. So, yeah, let's build up California and get as many clubs out there as there are in Florida currently.
And Jason, I want to get your thoughts on this chat.
Yeah, similar to what Porter said, I think it opens the door for a lot more opportunity on the West Coast. I agree Las Vegas should be a target. Even Southern California and the greater Los Angeles area has been rumored, maybe like around the Irvine area or so. I just think it really builds up the domestic brand across the U.S. of people learning coast to coast who the NASL actually are. It's no longer going to be an East Coast league, an East Coast game. So again, I just think great opportunity to grow the brand. I think the TV coverage this year is going to help out with that tremendously, but it's always going to come through expanding from coast to coast.
And lastly, with Spencer. And,
well, so you can hear me this time.
Yes.
I think the ownership and everything about it's good. I looked up on them today, and I saw some videos and things they put out, and I really like the feel of what they're bringing to San Francisco and the league going out west. I think we're going to see more than 2 expansion teams added this year, probably. Thinking of how, with all these TV deals and everything we have, I think I read somewhere that the league's trying to push towards almost 20 teams, which won't happen in the next year, but I think we'll see more than 2 expansion teams at the end of the year.
And there was some speculation last night that there would be a new TV partner or another TV partner for the NASL, and that has been announced today. CBS Sports Network has been discussed or rumored to be a couple of months ago. Then we got told that it was beIN Sports, and then beIN Sports came in, and now there's CBS Sports. So CBS Sports being the 4th TV broadcasting partner for the NASL, that's huge, with just One World Sports and ESPN3 last year. So that really grows the league massively in this league that's growing every single year with new expansion clubs, and just having CBS Sports coming in, and they're going to start broadcasting in July, so that means the fall season, but still, it doesn't matter when they're broadcasting their matches. At least there's so much exposure throughout the country and potentially the world.
Yeah, and especially if those TV deals bring in some revenue that can be shared among the teams of the league. That's a huge deal for a team like Rayo OKC that everyone has asked already, where's the money coming from? Well, 2 national, beIN Sports, somewhat international TV deals with a little bit of revenue, even if it's only $3 to $4 million for each deal, split 12 ways, is still a lot of money for a fledgling club like Rayo OKC. So big deal for them.
I was reading today that Wesley Burdine, who covers Minnesota United, he reported that all of these deals are pay to play. So the league is paying those networks to get onto those channels. So it's a bold move if that's true. And whether you get, I mean, it's something that all leagues have pretty much gone through, growing leagues anyways. And it's just to get the NASL brand out there and legitimize it. If those games are in front of eyeballs and people are flicking through and going, oh, NASL is on beIN or NASL is on CBS, it just legitimizes it.
And also talking about the Canadian aspect as well. Teo, can you expand on what you know of how Canadian fans who follow the Eddies or follow the Fury, how can they watch matches with their team, and not just with the Canadian side, but with the team that's just any other team in the
Sure.
league. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what we know is that CBS Sports is available on. It doesn't have full national coverage except on one network, Bell ExpressView, the satellite company. It's on Rogers and Kojiko for an extra cost, obviously. It's in sports packs and that kind of thing. One World Sports, all of their games are going to be streamed online. So this year there won't be a paywall. You won't have to be a cable subscriber to subscribe to watch those One World Sports matches. So that's good news for Canada because last year I don't think we could do that. And TSN is going to sort of piggyback off ESPN3 and all those matches that are on ESPN3. I'm hearing that TSN Go will have them. So sort of an online offering as well.
So what kind of reach does TSN have? Can you compare that to like an American sports outlet?
TSN is exactly like ESPN. The only difference being, I don't know if ESPN does this in the States, but you have to be a cable subscriber to get TSN Go. I don't know if ESPN3 is free to everyone in the States or if you need a cable subscription. Maybe you guys can enlighten me.
Yeah, you do have to log in with your cable subscription to
Right.
get access to ESPN3. So, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just get Spencer's thoughts on 4 TV partners. It's huge for the league.
Even if it is, pay to play, for them to be on there, just the exposure and everything. I think the CBS Sports might actually be greater than the BM Sports one, just because of I believe more people would have more access to what BN, because BN Sports you do have to purchase a lot with it, and CBS Sports, depending on people and how many you click on there, but getting the brand out there and and having so many games broadcast over so many different ways that you can watch them definitely will help the league in the long run.
So we have some viewer questions that just came in as we speak. One from Jose Martinez. He says, what's your opinion on my Fort Lauderdale Strikers this year making the playoffs? Personally, I see them getting into that 4th seed once again. They may not excite a lot of people, but I feel that they have a new manager. They have sort of like a revamped squad, and I see them just getting that 4th seed once again. So let's go through the team once again. Mateo, your thoughts on the Fort Lauderdale Strikers maybe potentially making the playoffs?
Yeah, man, it's going to be close. I think that they're going to be squeezed out of the playoffs. I think they're going to finish 5th, actually. But again, I'm terrible at these predictions, so don't take it to heart. Yeah, I think I've got them 5th out of just missing the playoffs.
That's sad to hear.
Sorry, Jose.
Yeah, Spencer, Strikers making the playoffs, yay or nay?
I'm actually finishing out of the bottom 4 out of the Florida teams, but I have all 4 Florida teams in my mind finishing, mid-table and either making the playoffs. So, but I have them finishing it, maybe 6th or.
Yeah, so Spencer has them finishing 6th, which is sort of a fair shout if you're asking a Florida supporter. Porter, Strikers, what are your thoughts?
Tough for me to say, being such a newcomer, but I think there's a lot of quality in the league, and I think there's too much quality above Fort Lauderdale, so I don't see them making the playoffs this year.
And Jason?
Yeah, I'm going to go actually to some stats to help out with my prediction here. So Fort Lauderdale was the #1 team last year in limiting mistakes. Mistakes could be cards, fouls, own goals across the board. But with having the highest turnover in the NASL from last year to this year, a team that was so mistake-free is really going to need to redefine their identity. And I think their mistake-free play last year is really what helped them to sneak into that 4th spot. I don't know if they're going to have that discipline. I don't expect for them to have the same level of discipline, potentially falling to the same errors that have kept so many other teams out of the playoffs in past seasons. So I have them probably about a mid-table team.
And we have one more comment from Jose, if I can find it. He was talking about West Coast expansion and how there is our first West Coast team, the San Francisco Deltas. Do you think now can the NASL go towards D1 approval, if you want to call it that? Teo is making some faces. Does he? Is
I sort of
Jose right?
I sort of agree with Bill Richardson, the commissioner, on this.
Bill Peterson.
Having Bill Peterson, I keep saying Richardson for some reason. Is there a Bill Richardson that's famous? I don't know. Having a D1, D2, D3 status is kind of ridiculous when you don't have promotion and relegation. I'm with Bill Peterson on this. Mm-hmm. But in the spirit of the question, I think that NASL is making giant strides year after year, catching up to MLS. And I think MLS is starting to look in the rearview mirror. And you can see it in the way that there's competition over markets. MLS won Atlanta, but if you're looking at Miami, it looks like NASL's ahead. San Francisco, NASL, I might get corrected on this, but I consider San Francisco and Sacramento kind of the same market. And I think San Francisco, NASL is there now. So you're seeing this war heating up. And I think that the owners in NASL are beginning to believe a lot more that they can do this. They can go and be the league in North America. And so that's how I see the situation right now. Thanks for the question, Jose.
Jason, I want to get your thoughts because your new owner, Steve Malik, there has been talks of maybe a sort of an expansion into MLS, if that's possible, maybe a downtown stadium I heard in Raleigh. So what are your thoughts on maybe the NASL can become a D1 league?
Yeah, a lot would have to happen right for us to really even put the finances together to make that happen. Malik by himself, I doubt, would have the finances to do it, but he is part of a couple of venture groups. And, I mean, though he came onto the Railhawks by himself, I think his venture groups potentially, if the Railhawks have a successful season over the next year or two, may potentially be swayed to invest with them to make that leap to the MLS. But honestly, I really, really enjoy the Railhawks being in the NASL. I think it's more of a pure game at this point, as opposed to being, I don't know. I don't want to go on a rant about everything that's wrong, I think, with the MLS. But anyways, the move to potentially go in downtown Raleigh, I think, would be awesome. It would bring in so much more attraction to people who live downtown to be walking distance to a phenomenal stadium. Where they look at even putting it looks like a good bet as well. I personally think that MLS is going to put up so many barriers to potentially do pro rel forever, keeping the NASL as a quote-unquote second division. But I mentioned this on Teo's podcast about a week ago, that I more realistically see the NASL continuing to expand and breaking into their own first and second level for potential pro rel, to have a first NASL 1 and NASL 2, and potentially merging with the NPSL to create maybe that third tier with a pro rel system.
And Jason, talking about bringing more fans, the Carolina Railhawks, they sort of increased their matchday experience, and they have a fan bus, which looks pretty cool, and they're going around their local pubs, and they're just bringing all the fans to Wakeman Soccer Park. So can you expand on that? And will you be riding on the fan bus or no?
I will be riding on the fan bus this week. I'm looking forward to it. So so where the stadium is centrally, there's Cary, North Carolina, and there's downtown Raleigh on the other side. There's going to be fan buses going in both directions, so 2 fan buses. And they're going to be picking up at breweries, at bars, and local hangouts in those various locations, bringing them to the stadium free of charge, so you don't have to pay for parking. They're going to give you a free beer on the ride as well. So that means you could be pre-gaming it at your favorite local establishment in Cary or downtown Raleigh, which I will be doing at London Bridge this coming weekend in downtown Raleigh, and then taking that fan bus over to the game to continue the pre-game festivities, tailgating there. But the fact that it's free, it's picking up a lot of really great soccer, local hangouts. It's going to be a great way to get some good millennials into the building, bottom line, to really fill up the supporter section. Great move by Malik.
Yeah, so we're just gonna end the show right here. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Do you guys have any last words before we tune out?
Just enjoy it, everyone.
Yeah, enjoy your first match of the season. If it's away, have your own watch party at home or go to a local pub, as they call it. Just have your own hangout. And I see Porter is wearing a Rayo. Oh no, he's not wearing a Rayo OKC shirt. I
Go,
thought.
go Sooners. Go Sooners, go Rayo.
Yeah, it looked like the rail red and all that. So thank you everyone for tuning in. You can like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you were new and if you enjoy what we're doing. And comment below, what are you excited to see this weekend and in the 2016 season? Are you happy that there's 4 TV partners? I am as well, and they're all happy below us. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will be back next week.